And action.
Are you guys ready? Yeah. All right. So basically, we already, I think, understand, how APM helps and how its data is modeled. It's surface metrics, it's troubleshooting data, right? But APM data is actually pretty bad for looking at very specific cohorts of our application data. Right, this overview chart is all the different application instances, for example. I've switched to a demo account for this, by the way. I have a custom attribute in here that I can use, so I'm going to show you guys how to set it. Same thing for browser. Browser going to instrument the page views, show you how fast they are, show you the page load times, route changes, and things like that. On an aggregated basis, which is useful. Good for alerting, good for verifying that you have a good user experience. But there's just some questions you can't answer with that, right? So some questions like, what are my business metrics? How is a specific user doing? Require very specific event level granularity. And so that's what we built Insights for. Insights is bootstrapped onto all the products, so it's a foundation or the high-level dashboard where you can aggregate, or you can look at raw events and aggregate them into business metrics in different cohorts. From APM, you can look at the transaction table, and you can say, I want to look at the rate of transactions by user item, by their session ID. Same thing with browser. We can instrument using JavaScript custom attributes. Our user ID is a classic example, shopping cart, or say any custom action on the page you want to track. There's a JavaScript API to track a custom page aspect. So if you have a button you want to capture the form data for when you post it, you can wire it up to you can wire it up to Insights using the browser APIs. APM and browser store their event data, page view data, and transaction data effectively for 8 days. So, data page here. You get free 8-day event retention on the raw metrics. On the raw events. Custom events, by default, you get 1 day data retention. So you can go back and look a day. If you want to retain custom events, depending on the use case, you should probably talk to us so we can talk to Jim about it. So those are things like, I want to observe an arbitrary thing in my call stack. I want to observe facility task, business logic. The workflow example that Tani had developed for the command processor, that stuff's stored for 1 day. You could choose to retain it for longer.
How do you create custom events?
You can host them to the Insights API. Or you can use the APIs inside of any of the APM agents to create the custom event. It depends on what you want to do, though.
Like your own agent?
Yes, you can roll your own. There's like an agent SDK to go money. Probably you can create custom events.
When do you use the API and when do you use the custom agent?
I would use the REST API to say instrument some custom application that can't fit an agent at all. So I don't know, Apogee gateway or something like that. So scrape some surface level metrics off of the Apogee gateway and send those into Insights. Send it directly to the REST API. Oh, that would be one. You guys have lots of desktop clients at Autodesk, right? The client applications. So it's the update service, Wingman. That's a use case that we were exploring with the engineering services division. Basically, they want to be able to track when updates fail in end users' thick clients. And so they would send custom events in this use case to Insights, the insert API. And it would send it directly to us. It's just generic REST endpoint. You need the API key, obviously. I was showing you that earlier. So you can insert custom data here. API keys, for example. And you just send it a JSON payload, and it will put it into Insights custom events. I actually have a demo of that. Let me see if I can get this out. I don't know where it is. Sorry, you can do it though. You could just you need to have this some kind of a schema defined. You want to say I want to track every time an update runs, the client name, client egress, things like that, and send it over to Insights REST.
Okay, so let's say I want to query some info for my database, and that's like a custom query. Okay. And I want to report it to New Relic. Will they use the API or the?
That would use part of the HTTP for, right? You have some kind of application connecting to the database.
Yeah.
Probably using HTTP for that. Let me show you how it works too. So where you want to be able to break out metrics in different cohorts. So you can create like filters. I was showing you error analytics earlier. So we could ask a simple question like, what is the volume of page views that the application is serving? And we would select. The basic query structure is a select statement followed by what's in the blue here is called an aggregator function. So we have count. You can do average, and you can target the average at whatever you want. Duration is one of the common attributes against all transaction page view events, as well as synthetics and infrastructure. Synthetics would have the infrastructure would not have that. So like CPU samples. So you can use autocomplete to get some interesting sort of lists and things here. So let's see, count. Cool. So there's our count of page views. And that's just giving you a number, so it's just counting all the page views. By default, queries go for the past hour. So you said 60 minutes ago, in this app, we had 5,000 page views, sorry. But it doesn't answer anything like duration. So let's say where duration is greater than 2 seconds. Oh, sorry. So we had 147 pages out of the 5,000.
Can you do stuff like 95th percentile and things like that?
Yeah, of course. You do pretty much most any visualization. So let's select the percentile. And I mean, you guys can feel free to bust out Insights here and play around while we're happening here. Select percentile, duration, the
Isn't it?
attribute. Yeah, and then we want to do 99th percentile. Boom. So there's our 99th percentile for page duration. You can, even with percentile, you can select multiple. 5, 99. And you want a chart list too. So add time series to any query that has some value that occurs over time, which is everything in Insights has a timestamp and different columns. So that our transaction data looks like this. It's a bunch of different transactions. It's like a long-running real-time query of all the transactions. So you notice the dates timestamp here lines up to almost real time. And if I hit this again, we're close to current time. 3:38 p.m. There's 3:38:04 seconds.
So within the integration, you can theoretically get all the count of the 4,500 responded from the ELBs then, for example.
The ELB makes that more complicated than just querying it. But yes, you could get all the 400 errors out of the app. So, compare HTTP response code.
But one of the CloudWatch metrics for the ELBs is the amount of 400 and 500.
Oh, no, we probably have it.
Yeah.
Okay, infrastructure is last. You got to get the foundation in there so you understand what infrastructure is doing. So anyway, I'm just querying around. Let's go ahead and show you a real world use of this. So I'm Joe. I want to look at my page views. Say that's a piece of effort for me. And I want to query this based on maybe I don't even want to look at the page views. I'm going to build this into a dashboard as I go. So I'm going to create a new dashboard for this. I'm going to bring that dashboard over. Alright, so that's just counting page views, but doesn't tell you anything about the number of sessions. So you can use unique count, or we have uniques as well, if you want to select all the unique instances of an attribute. And you want to uniquely count the different sessions. We have our own session attribute, we have our own session cookie that we set in browser. And we do front page view. Number of unique sessions now, much lower than the number of actual page views. And add that guy. What's up? Yes. Yeah, I'm using that. I do that a lot. So now we have number of sessions alongside number of page views. That doesn't tell us necessarily where the users are coming from. If we want to do that query again, unique count session. This is where it gets interesting. So we're just querying metrics at a surface level. If you want to split the metrics out, we do what's called a facet. I think I was showing you some of this earlier, but I wasn't explaining exactly what's going on behind the scenes. So facet groups these into the top 10 cohorts for a given attribute. So the top country code. So these are our top 10 most populated countries where users are sourcing from in this app. So now, what's that?
I was wondering if what's EU country code?
57? That's 57 sessions.
And what country is that?
EU.
Europe.
Somewhere in
Not
Europe.
the country, no?
It's probably not a country. It is a EU country.
ID is a country.
Let's see which country is it.
Europe.
Europe, but it doesn't make sense.
Interesting. I wonder why it groups it that way. That's happening.
Who's responsible for setting the country code? Are you tracking it yourself, or should we configure something?
No, this is all, these are all, so what I'm
Yeah, we
tracking
go from
now are all
IPs,
default or default attributes.
Is that grabbed from the IPs?
Their IP is translated into the ASN,
And then it'll be the right database. That's
and then, yeah, and the ASN is queried to get the zip, country, and then we just throw out that to this. Yeah. We don't see that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so session is also something which is internal for you.
Correct. This is not a typical session. It is our own cookie that we set for the browser.
Okay.
It's J session ID. I think is what we set.
Why the fast is only on the numeric values?
Page views or
Joe?
So that will only show me the sessions and users from browser, right? Not from the mobile app.
Correct. Yeah.
And do you keep track on the IP for request response for server side too?
No. No.
Just for the
You can absolutely send a stack. So you can send a whatever other custom data you want. It could be an IP address lookup. User ID is super common. I was saying earlier, customer ID. So you want to track the cohorts of the performance of different customers in a multi-tenant environment.
Yeah.
So country. We have other ones in city, state, etc. So Frankfurt, probably our EU. Sandbury, Tokyo, Columbus. I think this is just on the data run. And then let's do something else. So let's get some performance metrics here. So we'll do average duration. You can actually do multiple selects. So average. Let's do minimum duration, max duration. And let's do percentage. Not percentage, percentile. So you can stick this on the that's our dashboard, give us an average and max. So pretty flexible. You can even do things like create a histogram. And everything that you can query with an aggregator function is going to be facile. So if you get a histogram, you need to define the width of the histogram. So this is the min and the max value. So our min here was 100 milliseconds and our max was 8. So we want to go up to 8 seconds. And then you need number of buckets, so the granularity can be up to 1,000 buckets for anything. So let's do 100 buckets. On page view, that's what I did this way. I'll get a pretty rich histogram here. Yeah. The duration attribute is in seconds in browser, and it's in milliseconds in transaction table. So, a bit of a distinction there. So here's our histogram. Page view durations. Stick that on there. And if I want to facet a histogram, what do you think I'll get?
colors.
A rainbow. Try it. Try it. Go ahead and go into your guys' TLV portal. Let's try it. Let's see what we get. Go histogram. Duration. Actually, we don't have a minute, so try to figure out what to do first. Ooh, 21 seconds max. That's a page view. Oh, this is pre-prod. I'm sorry. My bad. You're like, whoa. No, it's 10 seconds in prod. That's fine.
But that's over every application though, isn't it?
This is every single app, so that's pretty basic. Yeah. Let's do app page. So this kind of gives us a share of the data.
This is for all applications in the account.
So how would we figure out which application has the highest response times?
Can you do an order by?
It defaults to ordering it by highest first.
But can you just do order by, can you do group by?
Facet. Facet's true. Facet by.
Okay,
App ID. App ID, okay. Actually, there's no app ID for browser. It's only Courtney's app.
So it's average of 2 seconds that the user stays in the app?
No, this is the
That's
average
what
duration of their page views. How fast it takes the page.
Oh, okay.
Right, slowly.
Yeah, let's do it for transactions. Yeah, no, that was good, yeah.
That's the recommended tree.
And actually, what we should really do if we want this to sort correctly, the first selector, the first aggregator, is what it will sort on. So we're sorting on min duration by having this in the front. So we should probably do select average, min, max. Those are pretty good too. You guys are super fast in services. And so as these mature, right, as you release them to production, your users are loaded on, you can go look at this dashboard and go, oh, what are my ad response times trending?
So just a question. So you said that the duration takes the page to load, but the apps that we have here in the list, all of them are backend services.
Yes.
So none of them is a web app.
This one is the workflows or whatever, next gen field.
Action field is, yeah, it's not in the list that's provided. Yeah, that's the only one that counts.
Yeah, this one is like when you change it to transaction.
I changed it to transaction.
You did transaction later on, then you get the backend. Depending
These
on
are
what
those.
you pick.
So those are the actual backends, yeah.
It's one style.
I changed it because we were fasting by app and I thought it was only one app reporting pages. Alright, cool. So, you can like play around with the data, it's cool. What happens if we facet this histogram? So, facet by app name. We get, oh, I don't know what app. I got the same thing. Transactions. We're gonna need to do this differently. 500. So this is actually showing me a histogram from the air. So you take the histogram and actually shows you where the distribution is, and we turn it on its head and look at it. So the routing service has a distribution where most of the transactions are closer to a second. There's 1,000 of them in that bucket. And for the example, the web portal, most of its transactions are towards the left side of the histogram. So it's a heat map. You can even do this. This is actually pretty cool. So you can take the heat map and go since 1 minute ago. And real-time heat map. So this will actually update in real time. Also, what kind of bot that runs, so I build my demo. But if you refresh. See, this isn't updating. think that Insights is probably the most unique thing for all customers. Alright, and any questions about this so far? Query visualizations, there's some really good self-enablement.
Can you
of that.
go back to the query of this?
This one, you need that?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are the insights exactly? What can I take out from the heat map? What should I?
Oh, I think
Is
this
it
looks, that
inside?
looks cool. If you did it if you did this country, some of our customers have used this to like detect DDoS attacks, for example, people slamming their APIs. I think this is more just for illustrative purposes to get the 1 minute view. Usually you're probably just doing cohorts like normally, not doing that.
What are you saying?
So this stops up. Nope. Cool. So facet by, these are all facets that you can do for the default data sets. So city, country code, things like that, those are always going to be decorated by default. Transaction has things like HTTP response time. The areas where you can actually go explore the default data set are here.
So the queries will refresh every 60 minutes?
The queries are real time, spanning from now until 60 minutes prior.
So
Last 60 minutes.
every time you have a request, it will update something.
Yeah, every minute or so, this will update. These are streaming index queries into your browser. And if you want to go back or forward, you get a time picker. So you can look at it. Tonight, for example. Oh, yeah. You don't have data on the night. So that's pretty odd. Oh, no, it's not. That's outside of the retention. There's last week. All right, cool. So you could also you could also explore this data. So where people are usually stuck with insights is they don't know how to get the data out. So you can do two things. You should go in your accounts and play with Data Explorer. Data Explorer is where I'm showing you can get raw metrics out to create an alert with earlier. But you can actually do inspection of all the available data inside of Data Explorer. So page views are in here. Let's look at transactions. You pick a table. These are all the different event types. Transaction is our APM event type, right? And you could group this by that name like we did earlier. And you can do that. The query will update. And you don't have to know what the query is. And then also helpful, you can look at all the samples inside. So you can page through. Here's some example of the schema for different samples. Here's, you can possibly and look at all the different rows and columns and how they populate and things like that. Certain events won't have all the same attributes. That's normal. So you see blank spots in here. Why I only have a response status for a post? Well, yeah, go figure. This is an internal attribute, things like that, duration. So this is one place to teach yourself Miracle, since it self-updates. You can click on a filter for a given app service, for example, and that's actually going to give you the updated version of what you're filtering on. Likewise, you can change the numeric Operators, so it could be count or database duration. Average, 95, 99, some, and it's just updating the query every time I play around with the data here. Lastly, there's a self-guided tutorial. I know no one likes watching training videos when you got an actual training person visiting, but if you're curious to play with insights later when I'm gone and you forget everything I ever taught you, you can go in here. So go to the query prompt in Insights, and it will actually take you through running the queries. You hit this Analyze tutorial tab. It will run the queries on your data. So these are all the sort of metrics that you can collect. And it's just guided tutorial. What's the average min, max, right? I was doing this earlier of my transactions. Try me. These are the different transactions split out by controller name.
In your app names, can you do regular expressions or substitutions?
Yeah, so from transactions, so let me add where app name blank.
So it's exactly, it's SQL. Okay. I was trying to put regex in there.
It's SQL-ish. It's not really, like you'll find some things that are missing, but, so if you want to just look at the login service, for example, there are the two kind of login services. When you go, this app, there's the two transactions that support the login service. All right, so the most powerful thing you can do in Insights, and this is in the tutorial too, is you can collect custom attribute data. So custom attributes would let you do something like this, where say you want to annotate a browser page view. Like I was saying earlier, you could track a form or a button, something like that. Or, in this app, we've done the following. So let's select the count from page view. And that's the same number we had before. There's 5,000 page views, that's cool. Let's group that by the user agent, user name. So this is a custom attribute that we added in the source code of this app. And every time a user logs in, we set their username in their section, and it tracks their page views with that username attribute in Insights. This is pretty simple to add. This username attribute is powerful, right? It automatically extends all the data inside of New Relic. And in order to implement it, this is the application that we were instrumenting. It's a example application, and in the source code for the page, we actually have this custom attribute set. So this is pretty simple. New Relic set custom attribute username. I think this is actually not where it's set, but get the idea. What's that down here? I think it's actually set on the login page. There it is. So in the button click function, we have a username attribute and actually a page action for submitting the login button. And so I can actually go into Insights and query against that. So say, I'll start from, this is a page action, which is different. Name equals submit login. And I can pass it by page action where I submit my login.
Obviously, you didn't print the
Maybe it's
demo
not
notes.
potential.
Of course, it didn't actually do it, but it could be. It should have logged it both places. My understanding is no app is maybe wrong. No. Oh, no, it's not.
You search something inside of something different.
Nah, I think it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
You're
there's
searching
no
potential username inside username. So obviously.
This actually, no. This actually makes sense. Well, anyway, there are other usernames over there.
Entonces, ciudad mayor, eso también estamos todos
Oh, yeah.
que el team
No.
luego de discriminar
So yeah, I don't know, if you guys have some annotations that you think would be useful, I think I see we came up and asked questions about it in between. Number one thing to note about custom attributes, and I think most people here are doing backend, I think that's where they're probably most useful. Unless you guys want to do like a bunch of custom instrumentation for UI, which we might do, or be interested in doing. But inside of APM, if you do add custom attributes, you get a little bit of a knock-on benefit. So you can use insights to query them. You can also see them in your error analytics. So my custom attributes that are in this app, they automatically go into every error transaction. So where I have username, login user, potential username result, those attributes automatically go into error analytics when you have an exception. So you can have better context on your exceptions. Alright, there you go. And then they also go into those, remember those long-running traces for the very slow transactions? So your transaction traces, they automatically get annotated with a custom attribute as well. So if you go into this transaction trace, have an array of attributes in there. So user agent, headers, response. Oh, this is synthetic. So here's an actual user transaction where the username attribute was set. There was a long transaction. Now we know which user had the actual long transaction. That's pretty much insights. Do you have questions about any of that? So I plan to cover infrastructure as the last thing today.
Okay.
How's everyone feeling? Yes, tired? Need coffee?
Maybe some Q&A if someone would like to ask anything or...
Yeah, maybe break it up a little bit.
Everyone's tired.
Everyone's tired, huh?
We should have more coffee then.
Well, I mean, we could do this. We could do infrastructure in the morning. I don't know. It's up to you guys.
When creating a dashboard, is there an option that when you're selecting like one bar or a value, it will influence the other views, tables?
So, is there an option to, I mean, like,
Like choose the last dashboard you just made?
I think I get what you're asking. Sorry. So if we have this time series chart, and that's it by app name, for example, we want stacked area. You want to maybe select an app from the list?
When selecting an app from the list, it will influence the other table views, whatever.
Yeah, so facet linking.
Yes.
So what I just did here is I edited this widget. Any widgets that are tables or bar charts, you can have become linked. So we have the first column, wherever facet is, linked to the current dashboard. You can actually use that as a filter for the rest of the dashboard. So a common thing to do is bubble up all the applications, their metrics, and actually go click on one of the services. And this page view is obviously
Great. Can you show again how you click it? How you link it?
It's the first one like
right. So edit this. If you edit a widget, this is the facet link right here. Yeah. And then that actually enables this filter box too. You can just add generic filters to it too. You don't need to have a widget. So if you edit this filter box here, go under attributes list, whatever you want, host name. So you can search for a specific host name to get out their dashboard. So here's one of our AWS instances, and we can even drill down to that granular. You just look at the response time of this one host. Actually, facet host is probably a more common thing as well. You can see if there's outlier in host performance. So facet host. Filter, just give that one host. That one happen. It's kind of the same. All right, so you guys have infrastructure deployed, right? Oh, you do now? So all the new services get it?
But we don't have the integration with AWS there, only on the
BIM 360.
BIM
BIM 360 as an
You guys have it, right?
No, it's okay, we have it. Yeah, you're on the breakpoint. You're on the breakpoint. So we have it? Yeah, we have it there. That's just it, yeah.
You're already on the account. You want to switch?
Yeah, sorry.
No, on this account, you don't have that.
What,
We have,
infra?
we have infra everywhere, but AWS integration on the breakpoint. And you were there.
Oh, you said.
Yeah, on this tab.
Yeah.
You're on the right place.
Sorry, sorry. Why no integration on the product end?
Which one? You didn't get to that yet.
You just didn't turn it on yet? Okay, cool. No worries. Oh, now we got a word violation. Is that your word survey?
Receive an email.
I don't know. That is. All right, cool. So some of you guys are leveraging it today. Infrastructure is the replacement for server mounting. So you've got legacy servers launched in like 2008, right? That product is basically done. It's going away in March. I think it's March. Essentially, it didn't have dynamic, scalable alerts. The main problem with it was that people would deploy it in Amazon, and they'd bake the server monitor agent and RSS-LOND into their AMIs, and then they would auto-scale. We would create like 100 servers on the list, and then they would scale down, and then those servers would disappear because it was based on hosts, the hosting, right? When you're running a data center, you care about every little host name. You probably named them all yourself. When you're running then cloud workloads, no one cares what the host name is, right? It's ephemeral, it's generated automatically by AWS, use tags for everything. So the infrastructure agent actually have my own account here.
Yeah, it's strange that the validation for the tags is different through the config than the web interface.
Sorry?
For on tags in the configuration file, it's fine with having spaces in and underscores, but if you try to use those on the web interfaces, it throws you an error.
Tags can be used.
No. So I've created a few tags. One of them is Bin360 with space dots. So product, full colon, Bin360 space dots. That's tagged it on all the apps fine through the web interface. You can see them.
Are those AWS tags or?
No, those are tags on the New Relic. New Relic APM.
Labels in the application.
Yeah, that's great. Sorry, labels on the application.
Sorry, yeah.
But if you delete one and then try to re-add it through the web interface, it says that's an invalid tag.
You need to wait like 5 minutes. It's like a cleaning task in the back end.
No, it cannot be used because it has a space in it. I'll show you.
Okay. But labels and tagging in infrastructure.
Sorry, labels.
Yeah, they're completely
I
separate.
think it's a similar problem that you have when you try to protect with single quotes.
That was
Syntax problem.
Syntax error, yeah. And it's just, I don't think it's dead, it's safe.
Documentation that says don't use spaces.
But then why does the client pump it with?
And that other tag that you have, well. Anyway, so there's 2 parts to this thing. There's an agent. So I'm actually going to install the agent here on the stuff over there. Just for funsies. Amazon one is here. I'm just going through the different directions. Nothing fancy. Pull down the Relic package. And it should automatically update and start showing metrics as the service starts up here. So, there we go. Oh, it should start. Yeah, it's running. It just takes a minute. And then once you've done that, you go into, I'm switching back to your S account again. You need to go in and actually enable the AWS integration. So the agent, like I was saying before, make an AMI or make it part of your build script when your application, when your EC2 instances scale up and start, and depending on what they're doing, how you build them. And then you need to go in and do one integration at a minimum. So especially in AWS environments, just having the instance ID means you're going to have a lot of pain going between the console, and maybe you don't have access to the console really to look at anything. You need to minimum add an AWS account. So you need to create a role. You create a read-only access policy and tie it to the ARN for that role. And there's a guide that walks you through all this here. I already have my role defined in my AWS account. You guys do too, so I'm going to go through all of this. Essentially, once you create that role, you'll be presented with this screen. You need to, at a minimum, enable the EC2 integration.
Where is the second account? The still account.
Yeah, I'm just showing. Yeah, I'm not going to change your settings. This is just a Lambda only account, it seems.
It's the old account.
Is it an old account?
Yeah.
But whatever. So basically, you need to get an EC2 integration, and the EC2 integration gives you all the tag information from your AWS account tied to the hosts that are reporting with the agent. So what does that mean for you? If you're going in and you're looking at a given host in UI, it should have all its AWS metadata decorated here. It also has the APM data correlated. So we get the entity reported back from the infrastructure agent, and we correlate it with the same entity that we see from the APM agent. We're able to draw correlations between the application and the host. So this one doesn't look like it's, oh, it's a prod. I'm in prod again. I'm sorry. Let's close this. There we go. So here's all our EC2 tag information. This account has EC2 information. And here's your moniker ID. This is the universal locator for everything inside the CMDB and Autodesk. So this is a part of the effort we're doing with labeling, is adding monikers to all the labels for the applications so they can go out and service now. It makes the inside easier. Cool. So you notice there's 57 other attributes. These are things like the hypervisor version, the VPC, the availability zone,
So what
region.
What kind of metric do we get that we can't get from AWS API?
Anything that the hypervisor can see. So hypervisor can see
Memory usage.
CPU. They can't see the process level information.
Process level, process packages, all this.
I/O package information. Yeah.
Memory usage by process.
Usage by process. Yeah. And what's cool is we contextualize it. So you have server monitoring.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we already use it.
You're using servers.
Yeah, you can go to alerts.
You have alerts on the servers. Okay. We should probably decom that. It's basically duplicated, and the servers will be end of life eventually. So group by region, we can actually see the performance utilization by region. And we can do that. Do you have any apps that span multiple regions? No?
You're a vote from the NIA, but it's
another
All right, so if you did have multiple regions span, you'd be able to see what the performance of each region is. You're gonna fix this order too.
One thing I did want to ask about this is when you see, do you see on the left where you click 40 hosts? Is the way to do regexes in there? Because like I want to filter all the ones that have the word.
You did here. So the filter host
But that wants you to select individual hosts. You can't do like a search to find the hosts.
here. Filter host searches all the metadata. So I think we have thousands of attributes that we're stamping as view metrics and load metrics on this page.
So if you did, can you do host name and then like something?
Yeah, you can do multiple. So let's say, what do you want to do? So if I type workflows, it queries every potential value in every category. Okay. So host workflow. Let's get all those containing the word workflows. And we want all hosts in West 1. So you have multiple tags here to define a grouping of hosts. There's nothing in there, is there? Is it West 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. West 2. Cool. And then now you have a custom filter set defined for these hosts that contain workflows in this region.
And then you can add alerts to that filter set as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's dynamic.
Yeah, I know.
And then save that. And that will save into your filter set here. So WF staging, dev, and QA are already defined filter sets that someone saved previously. We should have that as well. So there's my workflow instances in US West 2 filter in AD hosts. And let's say we want to set a CPU alarm for when this group of systems, any single one of them has a CPU above a certain threshold. You can pop this little 3-dot term thing, I don't know what we're calling this, down, create an alert policy. You could also view the query that this data would run against in Insights. All the infrastructure data, the CloudWatch integrations, the actual process level information, disk, etc. It's all stored in Insights as event data, and it's stored there for 13 months. And right now that actually includes quite a bit of extra data. You can send custom data through the infrastructure agent through on-host integrations, and that's stored too. So set my alert up here. Alert on CPU greater than 9%. And it saved my filter set when I was creating the policy, so it's dynamically targeting main hosts right now. You can preview which hosts it would set against. You can even refine the threshold from there, or sorry, the target set. Say we want to just scope this down to just one host, for example. We could have done that. I explored the entire filter set now, like it's silly, but here we go. CPU, any of these different system level metrics. It's all dynamic. float to any host greater than 90. This guy freaked out earlier. Then, someone's been making some custom events too. Example policy. Now I'm going to station itself a bit real ways. And so where earlier, in the new alerts UI, I was showing you to create an infrastructure, create infrastructure alerts and stuff like that. You actually create them from this UI since it's tag coded, and then you can actually view them in the alerts UI, but you manage them from the infrastructure. So cool. You notice some other stuff in there. Namely, a very, very big difference for infrastructure is this events role, other than the dynamic nature of it. So events role is actually all the change events in that host. So this is actually showing us when we update packages and things like that. This is a package getting installed. Libraries being updated. This is a real-time sort of event trail of everything that goes on in the system. It even includes AWS change events. So if you create or destroy an LD as part of the deployment, if you do immutable infrastructure, this will show you when all the AWS services change state and create or destroy anything. More useful, service start, restart, or session information. So, no session information. Why are you telling me no session information? So there's two. There you go. So over the past 7 days, there's been 106 different session events. Qualys scanner, obviously, but also people logging into the servers, EC2 user. So if somebody, say, goes and causes a high CPU alarm, and you can actually go back and correlate the metrics of the times when we went on in the system using the events trail, you could potentially save some time fixing an issue that someone that big or very big. It's probably the most common thing that ever happens across the piece there. The events, they feed what's called infrastructure inventory capability. So this might be something you haven't really looked at yet either. We have the application correlation here. And we also track the packages. So you guys know OpenSSL vulnerability that came out a little while ago? OpenSSL is a package that's on every system. And it's managed by APM in your environment. And we can actually see what versions of OpenSSL are running and which hosts have older versions. And so this is probably preferable to writing a bunch of chef scripts that query the version of OpenSSL or what have you. That need updating, and then you've got your inventory right there. I don't know if you guys track package versions and things like that in security tools, but it's an easy kind of patching.
We don't need it anymore.
You don't need OpenSSL?
No, we don't patch. It's just restack and make a new image.
Oh, you just switched in? Cool. So you just roll a new AMI?
We restack on every commit, and the security auto just gets a new add an AMI. If it's very urgent, then they roll a new one, and we use it automatically on the next commit.
Next time you roll something. Cool.
Unless they're broken.
Unless they broke the AMI?
Yeah, they do this a lot.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you can learn on any of this data, so process data, scanning data, whatever, storage information.
So one question we had before the can we run custom checks like this in FileAgent?
But yeah, you can. It's extensible. So like these integrations here, you can report up any custom data you want. You can write a Python script that checks for the existence of some file and reports it back to the infrastructure inventory.
So I need to add on with the context.
These are the ones we offer and support, so Nginx, Redis, MySQL.
So can you have the infrastructure agent call a binary on the system and have that binary return a value and then that's reported throughout?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need sensor.
Do you guys have a bunch of scripts that use like sensor scripts? Yeah. So what you can't do is do automated remediation. So no push down to the agent. You guys using like sensor is open source, right?
Yeah.
And that's where like custom state checks go.
We have all instance monitoring through sensor.
Got it. I think someone asked earlier about StatsD as well. You have a StatsD client and infrastructure agent now. That's GA quality, ready to go. So if you have a StatsD client, you need to go configure this thing. It needs to be scoped. You have to pick out the different metrics that you want. But fairly easy to set up from that.
Does it make segregation like have multiple posts sending the same metrics? Makes segregation per post?
It'll keep the fine grained metrics, all of them, and then you can choose when you want, how you want to aggregate it.
So we can see per post.
Yes. So the way the on-host integrations work is you deploy them on each host. So you always get per host level metrics. They're meant to be fine-grained, I guess. Yeah.
Do you have an example with that understanding?
I think I might, yeah. Sends it as event data, but you can define what event type it goes into, much like our custom events, from the actual stats extension.
So
This one's actually interesting. It's actually pulling like weather stations as an example.
So in what use cases should we use one over the other? Is that or the customer for this business?
I think, I don't know, if you already have something out that you want to just get to New Relic quickly, and you want to reinvent the wheel, and they're already published with StatsD, then you can just send them to StatsD.
So they are interreplaceable software.
What's that?
They're interreplaceable software.
There's some things that I would not publish to StatsD, like the workflow example. That's a very, very good fit for custom events. So I want to instrument something that is, has multiple steps in the process or something like that. I don't know what that StatsD schema would look like, but for custom events, it's actually like very simplistic. Like I want to tell New Relic when a file moved from A to B to C, right? After it was uploaded, here's what their stats look like for for that. Versus custom events, it goes pretty easily into insights.
And for custom scripts on the servers, it's actual, you have to configure the client itself. It's not push configuration. You can't say I want these scripts for the infrastructure client to run. You have to say on the infrastructure client, here's the scripts and here's the directory.
Right, yeah, you need to upload them in, and there's a helper function that will like convert the actual data that comes out into the JSON format that it needs to go into the infrastructure. If you send up to the collectors correctly, you need to generate the data. Anything you can get into standard out though can be pushed into the infrastructure.
But there's no pull configuration for that. You can't configure all these scripts go onto this machine labeled like this.
No, you need to actually deploy it out to the systems, yeah.
Can we have an alert over this stacks being implemented?
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Any of the initially supported on-host integrations.
Méteme que el auto.
Yeah, as long as they come in the right format, which there's multiple formatters for this thing, I'm sure it goes in there correctly. This would be the sample data type for stats key in this account. Yeah, you should do that. Test.
Dusza jest odpadna.
There, then you can do, let's see. Values, average. You can just create a number over it on it, basically. So once data gets in, you can create another number. Here, baseline. Pretty job. The square baseline. Yeah, you can create one. These are things you have in your environment.
Which one?
Like classical, Nginx, Redis.
We have only Nginx, because the rest is CS, RDS.
Oh, okay. Alright. Not hosting your own. Got it. So those should be covered by the APM migration. So shared dev is on the main BIM 360 account. So these are all the cloud-watch metrics you pull, and after you've enabled your read-only role, these just publish in there. That'll work. pretty much what I got for the day. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.